This is one of the more bizarre times that I can, just about being frank, that I can remember in my lifetime, whether I've read something about it or experienced it, in that the president of the United States and the White House official statements that they puts out, and then what turns into reality are usually completely the opposite. And it's pretty well known, been very well covered here in the U.S., that this is about the 40th time since like the 8th of April that President Trump has said that we were nearly at a deal, or we already had one, or we were largely agreed to one. And now here he said, we've got a deal. It's going to be signed tomorrow, and there's talking a lot of details about it. But here's the problem: on the one hand, you have what appears to be corroboration. So the Iranian side says, yes, we have a deal agreed to behind the scenes, and we're ready to sign. You have the intermediary in Pakistan saying, yes, there will be a sign somewhere around 24 hours earlier today, implying tomorrow. So everybody seems to be on the same sheet of music. But then when you start listening to what the two sides are saying is in this term, then you're like, okay, these are literally incompatible. They cannot both be true. One says, President Trump, we will not give you one penny of frozen funds or release any sanctions until you, quote, behave and prove that you can do something. And then on the Iranian side, to a man, they're saying we will not agree to anything until we have the $24 billion of frozen assets released and those sanctions waived on our energy system, and the blockade opened up, and a ceasefire in Lebanon. So they're saying a ceasefire in one place is a ceasefire everywhere, not just between Iran and the United States. And those are literally incompatible with the U.S. So it puzzles me why we are so confidently saying, yes, a deal is going to be signed tomorrow, because either one side is just absolutely fooling everybody about what's going to be in the agreement, and then tomorrow they're going to agree to something 180 degrees out, or President Trump is confused, is fooled by himself, or lying. Who can say? That's why this is such a bizarre time, because both sides can't be telling the truth. And tomorrow, if this does come out tomorrow and the terms are finally announced, then we'll know who was telling the truth and who wasn't. Because here's the thing: you cannot have an agreement until you have a single text that both sides sign on to and agree to. And right now, they're not even on the same planet. So wow, I'm really interested to find out what does happen tomorrow. But I'll just tell you, I doubt that it's going to happen. I doubt there will be a signed deal, because I don't see how politically President Trump could agree to what the Iranian side are saying.
Could it be that it's sort of lost in translation, that they can both somehow claim that, yeah, well, that's what it says, and it's sort of so vague that both could claim some sort of victories? I mean, in the end, is it going to be that?
For some things, you can possibly get by with that, where each side could claim its own interpretation, but not with the release of funds. That's either you do or you don't. You can't manage that or massage that one. You can't manage or massage whether the both blockades are open, because Iran would also have to completely open its blockade with no fees, no tolls, no anything else. And you can't fake that one. So there's so many terms here. And then the other one, of course, the issue with the Lebanon, you can't fake that one either. Either Israel withdraws, as Iran was saying earlier today, there's a requirement, or they don't. And if they keep fighting, then by definition, you don't have a deal. So this one is just nearly impossible to assuage like that. Somebody's either going to have to completely give in to the other side, or there just can't be a deal.
What about the one about not having nuclear weapons and not developing a nuclear weapon, which Trump sometimes says that's what it's really all about? Is that one where there can be room for maneuver? Do you think that is achievable?
Well, here's the thing on that one. If the United States needs a declaration up front from Iran that they're not going to pursue a nuclear weapon, that's easy. They've never said anything besides that. So they would definitely give that one up. But in terms of negotiating the terms of any kind of negotiation or their nuclear program, with the reprocessing capabilities, with the holding on to how much nuclear process material they keep, how much it can go up to, those Iran has saying that's not even in phase one. All phase one is the memorandum is just saying that we're going to have a 60-day ceasefire, and that, all those other things have to be done that I mentioned there about the funds and the sanctions, etc. They won't even talk about that unless there's a phase two, unless they finish phase one. That's what they said earlier. Actually, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said on Iranian television last night, that was released on video this morning, He said we won't even get to that discussion unless they first, meaning the United States, first abides by the terms of phase one, which is what we just talked about. So if President Trump's thinking that has to be up front, then another situation we have that's incompatible. They just can't both be true.
Do you think Trump is looking for an exit as quickly as possible?
He should be. I mean, there's every reason for him to do so, because every day this drags on inconclusively. Every day that the Strait stays, the dual blockades, is another day that both the Iranian oil and the Arab oil is not getting onto the global marketplace, and we really need that. Everybody does. Asia, the United States, Europe. I mean, everybody needs that to happen. So I hope that he feels the need to do that. The problem is that sometimes President Trump is not concerned about how things affect other people and continues to think that if he just holds out a little while longer, then the pressure will build up on the other side and they'll submit to him. But I'm just telling you, in this case, that is a fatal miscalculation if that's where he's thinking.
And how is this going down with the American public? Presumably gas prices are going up. Are people losing patience with this? Were they ever behind it in the first place?
There were some that were behind it in the first place. As it's gone on, there has definitely been a significant decline in the percentage of the American public that has believed that this was a good idea, and the increase in the number of things that needs to be off the table, which is one of the reasons why President Trump has been moving this way. I've been talking to some folks here of late that have access into the thinking of the White House on the higher levels, and that has moved them. They have seen that the American public is not behind this, and we're talking primarily about the MAGA folks. That's what he really cares about the most, and they're starting to turn against it too. They haven't turned against it, but their support is wavering and declining, and so that's part of what's moving him on here. It's not that strong so far. The price has gone up, of gasoline about $1 or so, and it's kind of hovered there for a period of time. If that starts to go back up again, starts to climb precipitously, then the pressure will really start to increase. So far it hasn't, and I think President Trump has been, just doubling down on using his manipulative techniques to keep the market down by promising all these things are coming, and the market's responding. The price of oil will go down, the stock market will go up for a while, but you can only do that so many times, because you see the price of gasoline isn't subject to that. It's subject to the physical availability of the refined product. And the longer we go, the further we get down the line, and all these mitigating factors like releasing strategic petroleum reserves, China buying less gas, others, some demand destruction, etc. Those things are keeping the lid on it, but those things are temporary and they can only last so long. And at some point, these mitigation factors are just not going to work, and then you're going to have a spike in price because you're going to have a significant decline in supply.
I don't try to talk you into buying gold or tell you how to run your stock portfolio, but there is a way you can help us. Subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with somebody you love.